Welcome, everyone, to Garden of Thought. And I was going to say very special, but I always say very special. And so, sometimes I'm obviously lying. Maybe I'm lying this time too. Who knows? Judge for yourself. But this week, my guest is the one and only White Chocolate, who is neither white nor chocolate. He was my co-host on the Evolve show on the Wrestling Soup and Friendos network. Um, and he does a bunch of other things there, and including the Don Reynolds White Chocolate show. But White Chocolate, how's it going?
Oh, I am doing all the things you do not want to do. How's it going, my Mr. Lip Man?
Okay, so by all the things that I don't want to do, that means eating right, exercising, leaving
Mowing the
the
lawn,
home, mowing the lawn. Right. Well,
respecting stepmom, things like that.
I don't have a stepmom.
Well, there you go.
Uh, and my second marriage was late enough in life that I don't think my kids think of my second wife really as a stepmother. So there's not that. And as far as mowing the lawn is concerned, I live in a condo apartment complex, so there is no lawn for me to mow. It's all common area.
I know
So
that's great, isn't it?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's a lot of good things about that. There's also bad things, so that like whenever there's any sort of maintenance emergency or whatnot, it's always somebody else's fault and it's never anybody's fault. So, oh, it's the condo owner's fault. No, it's the common area's fault. No, it's nobody's fault. No, the condominium association act says this. Okay. So at the end of the day, I have to live with it. So anyway,
Yeah.
never mind my first world problems in my suburb. So, because most of you probably don't care about any of that, especially those like dozens and dozens of scores of people from Japan and France who apparently found the show last week, which is bizarre but wonderful. So, welcome, or probably were listeners before who discovered VPNs. But either way, welcome or welcome. Bienvenidos. And konnichiwa. Chocolate suggested that we do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I've done, so the esoteric nature of Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, and didn't really realize until I put them together that they were basically the same book and basically the same story. Though my experts in esotericism didn't quite agree with me exactly, but I think as the show went on and they heard me out, I think they're like, hmm. In any event, I'm going to start with this premise, White Chocolate.
Hmm.
I basically think uh, that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is the story of Job. Charlie is Job, and and Willy Wonka is clearly the demiurge. Um, and of course, we have a descent into the underworld and all of that stuff. So we're going to go like fully biblical here, or is there something? Am I reading too much into it, or too little, or what's going on with me?
No, well, I mean, I don't know if we have enough time to go down that list. However, I now that you mention it, yeah, I have often related the story of Charlie as with the story of Job. I mean, even his whole family is like suffering, like rather than just disappear like Job's family did and go off into some ether. No, this family suffers too. Like in the book where he has, I don't know, getting a little too far ahead, but I'll say like not only I meant to say like not only does Charlie suffer, his mother suffers, of course, and his father, which appears does not appear in the movie and all that stuff, he's long suffering as well. And his pain I can actually relate to, but I'll get into that in a little second,
Yeah.
in a bit.
So I didn't. I mean, I of course have watched the movie, the Gene Wilder one. I don't think I've ever watched the Johnny Depp one, or maybe not made it all the way through. But so we're going mostly from the book. So those of
Yeah,
you, I mean, I don't know how different the book is from the movie or movies.
very.
Very okay. So if there's any differences there, folks, then maybe pick up the book, or you can get it on Audible. I mean, it's like even if you listen to it at one time speed, it's like 3.5 hours long. It's not particularly arduous. Um, but yeah, I mean, even the family, there's seven of them, which is sort of like and so it's Charlie's like he's not exactly the seventh son, but he's the seventh version. They live in a two-bedroom hovel sort of at the edge of town, which is, I mean, and listen, you'd think the one job that they'd be able to keep in a community which it seems to be entire or was entirely reliant upon a giant chocolate factory, which as it turns out employs no human beings any longer. So that's part of the problem. But the one job you think they'd be able to maintain was somebody who puts the caps on toothpaste, because you think they need a lot of toothpaste to counteract that chocolate. But no, poor Charlie Bucket's family and Bucket. What a pitiful name that is for the Buckets. And but maybe probably I am getting ahead of ourselves. So this story, it doesn't actually say where it takes place. I mean, it clearly indicates it's England somewhere,
Hmm.
probably a London-ish kind of town. But I mean, is it necessarily like our Earth?
Well, I mean, considering that Roald Dahl has almost the same origins as Tolkien, I wouldn't be surprised if it was out of that bizarre, like wacko Earth. And in a way, it makes a lot more sense when you put it that way. Like Jesus Christ, when the like I said, there should be a market for all the toothpaste from all the chocolate, the biggest chocolate conglomerate, which, like I said, employs nobody and is just one factory somehow. Yeah, this town is pretty fucked if that was all they depended on. And I'm glad they
Yeah.
had other subsidiaries like the toothpaste factory and the candy shop owners, but there was not much else. You would think there'd at least be a call for
You would you
denti.
would think so, but the Brits, they don't like Jews, so there are no dentists in Britain, and their teeth is living proof of that.
Hmm.
Um, so, all right, so I like C.S. Lewis, and actually I'm going to ask you to expand on that. So if I forget, just put a pin in it and compare C.S. Lewis and Roald Dahl. But like C.S. Lewis, everyone tries to define a work as one thing. C.S. Lewis, it's about Christianity. It's about this. It's about the Industrial Revolution. It's about the horrors. Like, why can't it be about more than one thing? I mean, most of these authors have multi layers, and I think this is exactly that. I mean, seems like it was sort of anti-industrial revolution in that replacing people with things, even if those things were Oompa Loompas, which are not I mean, you could read a lot into the Oompa Loompa stuff, and I'm going to stick with not exactly human at this point, or not exactly standard human.
Aborigines.
There's there's right, there's, that are a foot tall, so Hobbit
No.
people. Um, so there's that. There's definitely a lot of class warfare, and there's a lot of fat people in it, and some of them are awful, and some of them are just fat. I mean, the shopkeeper seemed to be a kindly fellow. There was also, a bit of divine intervention in Charlie finding a 50 pence right when he was there, which seemed like manna from heaven for him. But if I remember, the chocolate bar cost 6 pence, so I mean, 50 pence is actually like eight and like a quarter of the price of a chocolate bar. So even by today's dollars, adjusted for inflation, is probably still not all that much money. And even back in this time, I mean, pence sounds definitely like a English denomination of currency. But I don't want to be rambling too much. I think we can start with the comparison you drew to Lewis and Dahl, and then maybe you can take us to the beginning and we can frame Charlie and the Chocolate Factory properly, or you can.
Oh, well, I'll say I actually know jack shit about Lewis outside of just the popular stuff he did and all the allegories he made to it.
Well, what,
But
what was this parallels between them you just said before? It sounded
oh,
so
I'll say like
smart.
with Tolkien, I know, right? Well, I
Oh, I'm
mean,
sorry,
Dahl,
Tolkien, not Lewis. I'm
you're
sorry.
fine, you're fine. No, 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 no. I wasn't saying
Well,
like
not
because
fine because I kept
Tolkien.
saying C.S. Lewis.
Hold on, shut up. So
Right.
Tolkien was a soldier. He was in the soldier in some kind of armed forces in some war, and so
World
was
War One.
Dahl. Yeah, he was one of them, right? So Dahl was in World War II. Yeah, he joined the Royal Air Force, and then at 26 he moved to D.C. and then just started writing books and just talking shit about the government. I honestly think his books are more of he's more like Heinlein, and that his books subtly deconstruct the American government and its representatives than like British stuff. But the British influence is still definitely there. But like you said, in the book, we don't know where the fuck they are. They don't specificate. And
They
you
don't specificate.
right.
Specify, you mean?
Specificate the correct zip code, whether
No, I
it's in
said what I
England,
said. I meant specificate.
whether they're in England or they're in fucking America. Because the movie, they were supposed to be in America too. But, for budget reasons, they just shot it somewhere else. Specificate. I know that's not a real word. I just love saying it. I listened to some.
Geographicate.
I listened to some stupid '80s song earlier, and it just rhymed every word with ATE. So he's like,
Well, you were smoking a closed cigarette, so what choice did you have?
yeah, well, that wasn't me. That was the one-armed man.
Were you listening to the alarm when the walls came down?
Yes,
Okay,
I was
good.
watching David Hasselhoff actually, but
The Hoff, the Hoff, legend. All right.
so
So
yeah, but
okay, so
yeah,
I botched Lewis and Tolkien, though. There's a
you're
lot of
fine. Doesn't,
comparisons
but you're
between the
right
two of
though.
them.
You
But
you
Tolkien
are
makes
right.
more sense.
Yeah, Tolkien and Lewis. But yeah, you're right. I mean, go ahead, run with it.
No, it's weird because I don't remember there being much reference to a government period in this book. I mean, there was news. You had news outlets that were covering it. There might have been one city official reference, but there certainly wasn't like a national government or even I'm not even sure if they mentioned something as high as like a governor or whatever. But they didn't really mention feudal titles either. There wasn't like sir or lord or anything of that nature.
Right, it was pretty neutral.
It was
Outside
so.
of the guise of filming it as it's an international, oh, not film, sorry, writing the book from an international, like, oh, here's the fat kid from Germany, here's the spoiled car salesman kid, which I'm assuming is America because he's car salesman, and then here's Mike TV, who is an American kid who watches too much television, and here's the spoiled one, and then but
They were all pretty spoiled. I mean, they
well,
all
yeah,
wanted
but
what
the
they
one that the donut shop, Beans
yeah.
Girl. But yeah, what I'm saying is like they kind of came from all over, so it didn't really have like a they're there, or we're all in one spot. And then Slugworth is over there just like showing. Oh, sorry, the movie. I'm going to hard for myself. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm getting too excited.
the only land we knew of for sure was Loompa Land, and the only government we knew of was there was a king of the Oompa
Prince.
Loompas.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
no,
No,
it's
the
a
king.
king,
Yeah, you're right. The king. I'm thinking of someone else.
and Willy Wonka made a deal with him because they love cacao beans, but they weren't given cacao beans in their own country. So clearly they were a subjugated indigenous body, even in Lupa land. So I'm sure people drew parallels to the British and Indian and places like that, and they're probably right. Um, but Willie bribed them. He's like, I have all the cacao beans you want, as if he's not the source of the problem. Then like
Recording
importing.
stopped.
Oh,
That's okay. I'm still recording.
okay. Okay, great. And yeah, folks. So this obviously this problem I've been complaining about still has not been cured or it's reset, which also is why my audio isn't as crispy. As I'm still not using a mic under the illusion that anyway. I'll have my tech support will work on that later. In any event, so so he bribed them with all the cacao beans they could have because and clearly he's the one that's importing most of those cacao beans. So the source of their problem, or one of the sources of their problem, is their solution, and that's all it took. Like everybody's motivated by food here, so yeah, we don't want to eat like green oatmeal or whatever they were eating. Um,
Mashed caterpillars and shit
Mashed
like that.
caterpillars, mashed green caterpillars. Right. Living off the land and one particular source of land. So they okay. And this is where the government reference came in because Willy Wonka goes, and it was easy. I smuggled them in boxes with holes in them. So he human trafficked through customs that took no look at boxes of an entire population with holes in it. But I guess when they looked and they saw like 1 foot tall, orange people or whatever, they're like, well, this must be some sort of exotic animal, which I guess in like the 1940s or whenever this was not a big deal. I don't know. I mean, you'd think the bubonic plague and things like that would have taught Europe a thing or two. But should I take this as reality, or just is that just more sign of the incompetence, or that in fact Willy Wonka is the demiurge and has control, but controls it in an insane way?
I believe all of these things. I believe that if you had Danny Kaye write a song about the Oompa Loompas, he probably already did and called it Civilization. That's probably what eased them into it, which is why no one thought to question him when he was smuggling them in.
Interesting.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
he's
because
a. Sorry, go ahead.
well, it's nothing sorry about. I kept trying to compare him to the Wizard of Oz, but the Wizard of Oz actually was powerless. It's just people believed his power.
Right.
But it seems like Willy Wonka actually has power. Like
He.
he can do things. Like he gave like the like some prince in India a chocolate palace and actually made this chocolate palace like in that what's that movie Backrooms now that it's like it's like
Well, yeah. I'll tell you this. Like, and going to and like so with that, and that was our boy Prince Pondicherry. Willie has Willie Willie has this power where he's like he knows he has it, but he knows it also takes great responsibility. Like going with the adventures and in this book, the things that are alluded to in his like flashbacks, and also the things that we see in the much buried sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, we learn that Willie has seen some shit, and he knows, like, he's like, oh Lord, I just want to help somebody, and I don't want to abuse this power because I know I can. And he's like, but when I give this power to someone, when I want to share it, they end up abusing it to such an extreme that, you know what, I think I'm the only person that can keep this power to warp reality, to alter things, to save a whole race of people under the guise of this. But he knows not to use it, and that's probably why he had to entrust it to the heart of a child. But I'm sorry, I'm totally getting way ahead of myself. But
no, that's
he
perfect
knows he
because
has a
I think
power. Go ahead.
well, I mean, limited to five choices, but I think that maybe he left that 50 pence in front of Charlie because that was, he set things in motion because Charlie had the heart of gold. He'd never had anything, but he didn't, he knew he was unlucky and poor and unfortunate, but he didn't act like it. He wasn't like, woe is me. He loved spending time with his creepy four grandparents who stayed in the same bed and never moved. And they were I guess the two heads and 2 feet meeting each other, in ways. And then there's poor parents who slept on a mattress on the floor. And mom made them their exciting meals of bread, margarine, cabbage, carrots, and potatoes, and not always much of them. But Willy Wonka, for all of his thinkings and ponderings, and I mean, he could have made life a lot better from everyone just by supplying food to the town he lived in or employing the people in the town he lived in, as opposed to, I'm sure the Oompa Loompas were happy to be rescued from Oompa Land. But I don't know, like, he didn't need to be the white savior of the Loompas. He could have been the white savior of white town Britain.
And you're right. However, I wish I had the Google to pull it up. I'm now that I'm looking at this, where like I said, he has the power to kind of like he could have saved those people instead of saving the Oompa Loompas. I honestly think Willie just didn't want to because he saw what humanity was, and he didn't like what looked back at him. So he's like deciding I could use my resources and power to help something, group of people that actually want to be helped and are actually appreciative, rather than helping all these fucking schlubs who aren't trying hard enough. And not necessarily knocking Mr. Bucket and Mrs. Bucket. I mean, screwing caps on toothpaste tubes and boiling laundry for dinner. I mean, those are very admirable things to survive. But
Right.
the four fucking slug asses in the bed, I haven't got out of this bed for 20 years and I'm not about to start now. It's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. And that, I think, is what Willie saw. And it's like, you know what? Just like the people in Flint, I just can't help you if you're not willing to help yourself. I'm going to help these Loompas here. And so he
Okay.
did.
Maybe you should clarify where you're from so people don't think that you're coming from a high tower.
Oh, me?
Yeah, well, you
Okay,
just
no,
like
no. Okay, no. So I apologize. So the reason why I bring this up is that because of the CEO or the creator of like the Raw brand, like rolling papers, when he
Uh-huh.
had amassed this fortune, I seen this in an interview years ago. When he had amassed this fortune, people have said like, "Hey, why can't you dedicate all this your money to helping the people in Flint versus why are you helping other people around the world?" And he straight up told him like, "Well, I can help more people with this money than I can help the people in Flint with the same amount of money."
I
So
see.
he took priority, and that's the way with Willie. I feel was putting priority.
So you weren't decrying the people of Flint. You were
Yeah, I'm
talking about
not.
this.
Yeah, the
You were
people in
you
the village of Bucketville, not the people of Flint.
right. You were comparing oligarch to oligarch. Okay,
Allegorical, yes.
yeah, an allegory about oligarchs. Got it. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Sorry
much
about
better.
that. No, I wish we could help the people in Flint, honestly, but it's kind
Sure,
of
of
fucked
course.
up. You know what I'm saying?
It's hideous.
So
I mean, this is the United States. I
yeah,
mean,
sorry.
you should
Oh
be
my
able to, you
god.
should be able to drink the water. I mean, there's
Yeah. So,
you know, I
sorry,
mean,
people in Flint.
it's one of the things that like I think everyone should agree upon is that we should have at least like water that we can drink in indoor plumbing. I mean, people don't even agree that everyone should have heat or air conditioning, but and certainly not national health care or whatever. But I mean,
Yeah,
drinking water. I mean, we
one of the
certainly don't agree
basic
on
right.
clean air, but
Oh
so I guess unclean waters, but at least it should be equally unclean, right? Anyway,
yeah. Sorry about
enough about
that.
modern day politics. What do you think Willy Wonka is? He's clearly not a regular human. I mean, he says I'm much older than you think, which
Hmm.
I don't know if that means he's 200, 2,000, 200,000, whatever. But I mean, what kind of being do you think he is, or does it matter that it's enough to think that he's just some sort of magical, wizardly, Gandalf, demigod kind of thing?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at like if he's from some other thing or if he's whatever kind of being he is, I imagine he's probably whatever Mr. Mixius Pitalik is from the Superman adventures, or
Okay.
the green or the Great Kazoo, where he just kind of pops in and out, and just like, hey, what's going on, dum dums?
Well, the Great Kazoo was an alien, so we
Well,
know
that's what I mean.
that.
So, but he was another. He was just a being from somewhere. He would come by and cause chaos, and then dip off, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so
And
that's what I'm
but
thinking. That Mixius Pitalik, the other interdimensional dwarf from the Superman DC comics.
that's right. I know Mr. Mixoplick, sure, of course.
Yeah, Mixel Pixie, he's a Pixie Sticks guy. But yeah, it's like that's how I kind of imagine Willy Wonka to be. He's just a creature of chaos, and he, in the like he just shows up. He did this thing, and then unless he's needed, he just kind of slumps away back into his
See,
palace with chocolate. Go ahead.
until reading this as an adult, I
Mm-hmm.
sort of pictured him more again with the Wizard of Oz or Mad Hatter kind of thing, and a little bit of the Queen of Hearts there.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem. I think in the movies they especially the more recent Tim Burton one, they made him a little bit meaner. Which again, I said I didn't watch it through and through, but that might be why I didn't watch it. He seemed a little psychotic, and
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I know that his image has gone through an enormous rehab, but Johnny Depp playing Willy Wonka very much reminded me of Johnny Depp maybe playing like sketchy Michael Jackson from like the 80s and 90s.
Yes. That's what we thought
And
20 years ago as well.
yes,
But
yeah,
no, there was that, and then I mean, honestly, it just felt like he was just playing another Tim Burton Johnny Depp character, and
that's
which
true.
it was. It didn't feel like any genuineness to it. Like the Willy Wonka in the book seems genuine enough to care for people, but he also is also like accepting of reality that not everyone can or needs to be saved. But he'll
Right,
still save them anyway.
right. It's well, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe not.
Hmm.
It's a little bit like Gandalf because Gandalf was looked like a human, but he clearly was immortal or had a much longer life than a human, and everybody around him knew that because of what he wasn't. I mean, they kept talking about the age of man, and they were not including Gandalf in the age of man or anyone from his order. So they're something else, but they're sort of with the elves, but not quite the elves. I mean, they're a different thing. And I think like Gandalf, he tried to save everyone, but not everything. And he knew some people were wretched and rotten, and it hurt his soul. But I think Gandalf actually was still trying to save everyone,
Hmm.
fulfill some sort of prophecy. I don't think there was any prophecy in Willy Wonka. I think Willy Wonka, like you said, just looked around, saw what he saw, and said, wow, this all sort of sucks. And but okay, I can find this innocent, good, the only righteous man in Sodom is, a 6-year-old boy or whatever, however old, 10-year-old boy, um, who was, with his skull. Even the description of like I was looking for too much. I think I was wondering like, are they all dead? But no, clearly they weren't dead. Are his grandparents dead? No, other people saw his grandparents. Other people could interact with his grandparents. And then I'm doing like the rejection thing, like when I watched Undertone, and I'm like thinking, is it all in her head? Is it not in her head? No, they had callers, but that could be in her head. I'm just like, oh, who cares? It was an okay movie. Shut up, Jeff. But I don't know. You know, forget the demiurge. That's too deep and not gnostic. But I think that Willy Wonka was some sort of semi-crazed, immortal or long length being, but not entirely crazed. Like I don't think he was terribly wrong with what he was looking at, but. And the salvation through chocolate, I think I was to make it a kid's story, but I mean, I think chocolate was a metaphor for like life
Hmm.
force, anything to keep you alive. In fact, he was inventing, what was it, like gum that it could actually be, a 3-course meal.
Yeah, gum that could solve world hunger.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like again, this goes back to that power. Like he knows he has the power to save people, but he can't make it too obvious. Going back
Right.
to that old adage, something given has no value. He can't just be like, "Here you go, starving people. Here's all the things." It's more of like, like that thing where give a man fish, he eats, but if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. So it's like that principle, and that's why he tested these things out, like the 3-course meal gum, the hair cream for bald people, like my friend Don Reynolds,
Or
and
me.
exploding gum. Oh no, you're spotting that Widow's Peak just right.
That's right.
And then you got the exploding gum for your enemies and all this fantastic shit. But again, you can't just give it to the people. You have to earn it through labor to earn what's that money to exchange it for. Anyway, sorry.
That's true, but I mean, I don't know where. I didn't read the second book, so that may be correct in where it went. But I mean,
Oh
it
no,
seemed
this is all,
like.
we're on the first book still, but yes.
Right. Well, I didn't read the second book, so you'll
Hmm.
be alone in the second book, which is fine. Because plenty of times my guests know far more than me. I mean, hopefully that's the goal of a guest is to know more than I do about
Wow.
something. Um, but I mean, I think he was looking for more like an honest broker, an honest caretaker. I don't think he had
Hmm.
decided he was still going to sell it or whatever. I think if Charlie at some point after whatever decades of apprenticeship, learned how to work things or whatever, that it might have been something where he had was it universal monetary basic income or something or
Yeah, or the
yeah
USI, yeah, or the
yeah
UBI, yeah, yeah.
in the form of chocolate that was actually nourishing food. I mean, I imagine that whenever this was written, that they didn't know that chocolate actually made you fat and rotted your teeth and things,
Hmm.
or and all that. It was just a delicious, tasty food that it was a bit of a luxury. Um, but look at the rest of this town. I mean, there were obviously people there that were advantaged, and it seemed like the buckets were the least advantaged of them. And some of the other kids, I mean, obviously there was international. I don't think they all came from England. Some of them were clearly American. I mean, you had I think even Veruca Salt was probably from someone from the American South. There was the TV kid, Mike TV or whatever, Johnny TV,
Yeah.
who I mean, all of these were spoiled brats. The what was Oliver Glute or whatever his name
Oh,
was,
Augustus Gloop.
Augustus
Oliver
Glute, even
Gloots.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, and these parents, they're as bad as the kids, which of course makes total sense. So the kids just get a little bit worse. I mean, they're kids, so of course they're going to behave worse than parents. But where else would they? Where
Get
else
it
would they
from?
get it? I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, parents are supposed to put limits, and didn't put any limits on. I mean, the closest thing I saw to a limit was when the TV kid turned 1 inch tall, and his father just put him in his pocket and put the pocket square over to try and like suffocate him and murder him to shut him up.
As well he should. I was
Yeah.
I was with that. Whenever I'm doing audio checks, I'm always thinking of Mike TV when I'm like, "Am I coming in clear? Am I the first boy to be sent over television?" Oi. Yeah, they. You're right, and it's all about the enablisms of these parents, like Veruca Salt. Daddy, I want a ticket. And then immediately he says, "All right, factory workers, you're gonna start instead of shelling peanuts, you're gonna shell these candy bars until you give me a golden ticket, and your bonus is a 15-minute break." Like what the
Right.
fuck?
And these kids, they all had some singular focus of discussing. It's like, Augustus Gloop just wanted to eat. Veruca Salt just wanted everything. So you may not think that's singular, but whatever she saw, she wanted. I mean, one was gluttonous, one was covetous. TV kid, all he wanted to do was watch TV, which
Sloth.
maybe, yeah, I guess you could find your seven sins there, but I mean, I
Yeah.
think it was just all selfishness and being completely disconnected from the rest of humanity. But sort of so was Willy Wonka. I mean, he was in this walled off, locked off factory where he fired all the people years ago, didn't have another thought about it. All the idiots in this town still worshipped him and revered him, like he was King Arthur, and he'll come back one day. He's abandoned us, but but they all, and it wasn't just the buckets. It's like everyone. He was still like this celebrity who lived in a castle and could have made all of their lives better. But I guess most of them, their lives were adequate. It's just we spent most of our time with the buckets or two particular buckets, weirdo Grandpa Joe, and I don't know. I Okay, this is and Grandpa Joe was the oldest at night, like 96 and a half, but all of them, they hadn't left the house in 20 years. They barely moved at all, and they were not in good health. But somehow when a giant glass elevator crashes through their ceiling, if you could call it a ceiling, their roof, um, not one of them died of a heart attack.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. You know what? That's because the Great Glass Elevator comes equipped with a defibrillator and all kinds of amenities just in case you have four octogenarians, octogenarians and septarians and all the other ones, sexagenarians, are in need of fucking being revived or resuscitated. I will say this, though. I wish they all did die. I hate all of them.
Everyone hates them.
I,
And I don't think that Willy Wonka. I mean, obviously, it could have been the answer could be his magic, which I mean is tied to what you're just saying. But I don't think Willy Wonka cared enough about anyone else to even consider that. I mean, he just seemed to. I mean, he was sort of like Donald Trump and like, let's do something and we'll see what happens. And but because he had actual real magic powers, like he could sort of work it out. Like he never gave it a thought that destroying these people's home and that they wouldn't want to live in his factory. Now why wouldn't they want to live in his factory? But
it's better than
but
this fucking hovel. That's like actually the same. The reason he's like, yeah, why would they want to come back here? I just put two holes in their house. What the fuck?
right. I mean, once you make, I mean, they can't afford an extra thing of cabbage, so of course they can't afford a new roof. So you sort of gave them no choice. But I mean, and then he actually they push the bed into the elevator.
Yep, the elevator is apparently that big.
That's spacious. Yeah, well, space time and all of that thing doesn't, and by that I mean physical space doesn't work the same there. It's again like back rooms. It's like you go into this magical dimension and space changes.
Yeah, Christ, I need to check that out. All of y'all are like really. I mean, I've been hearing things about it. Not to get off topic, but the whole like dimensional backroom things. Something definitely want to check out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
like
check it out in
the
about a year or three when it's free on one of my
for
services.
sure same. But yeah, going to the elevator. I mean, it's the ultimate Deus Ex Machina, where it's just whatever you need it to be. And I'll get into that when we touch on the second book, I suppose. But my God, this elevator, you would think it's Kit and Airwolf and Magnum PI and anything Donald Belisario put up in the 80s all rolled together.
No, absolutely. This
So
thing
I
it
mean,
could go
it's
upwards,
wild.
sideways, downwards. It could hover in space. I mean, and then
It can
you know,
tow a whole ass space barge.
there
So
you go. it can do everything. But like so they do the tour, they bring the people in and they descend again, like I said, to be, not too trivial but not too serious either. They descend into the underworld like the typical hero's journey, and these kids one by one all clearly do something that would kill a normal person, but they end up, resurrected, or but in some way altered. Maybe they'll get fixed. Maybe they'll go back to their regular self. Maybe they won't be. I mean, the implication was they don't revert to their regular self. That the Augustus will stay, purple or whatever color he was, and that the one kid will stay 10 feet tall. And everyone's like, that's terrible. And Willie's like, no, every basketball team is going to want to recruit him.
Yeah.
Um, so Willie's always like, look on the bright side, but let's look on the bright side. After this terrible shit that I broke, but for the most part, he broke stuff that was terrible already. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a Willy Wonka book where he like goes into like middle class and like and goes into like perfect, like goes into like the best Italian restaurant in town. He just breaks that shit too and says, "Don't worry, you can have chocolate now." And they're like, "We wanted our chicken parmesan and lasagna, man. What the fuck?"
Well, now you have chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I want to know. I want to know if he's this careless and disrespectful about everything, or if he's just going after terribleness and trying to see the bright side of yeah, their conditions have changed, but it's actually for the better, regardless of how involuntary it was. I would like you to speculate on this.
Well, speculamortit. Well, now you just pretty much said like you want Willy Wonka as Gordon Ramsay going around and just fixing shit.
Right? He's like Jake Tapper from Bar Rescue, except all the bars go out of business. Like, wasn't my fault.
No, all the bars just have fucking chocolate. Now, see what here is alcohol. Like alcohol makes people very aggressive. What we need is chocolate. You need a tap of chocolate. And in
He's like the
fact,
Wizard Urkel. Did I do that?
yeah, just I don't know. He would fucking. I can imagine him just going around causing chaos. Actually, I'm starting to feel like Wonka is more of a chaotic, like imp sprite or whatever.
Yeah.
Just going around doing that shit. At least in his earlier years, before he saw something that made him terrified, and just retreat back to his chocolate factory to hide behind his 1 foot tall soldiers.
No, he's definitely Promethean in the chaotic way. He's like, Coyote or Loki or something.
Yeah,
He's definitely a chaos agent. That's for sure, a chaos
yeah,
god. And of course, if you're a chaos god or demigod, why would you care about your consequences? Because you're a god, and I guess if you do know on some level that you are improving the conditions, it really doesn't matter how you did it,
right,
like
right.
smuggling entire people to another continent. But hey, they're happy. They live in this great factory and they eat
Yeah,
cacao beans and they love cacao beans, so everyone's happy. Yay! I mean, simple solutions, I guess, to complex problems is that's lovely.
just
Here's my question to you:
yeah.
Do you think that when Charlie ultimately takes over, because he's not passing the baton right away? I mean,
No,
there's clearly some timetable here. Does Charlie remain like Job and pure and turn this into a better world with these immense powers, or does he turn like Willie and be like, yeah, I mean, I'll do the good I do, but I'm going to do it my way, which sort of screw everyone else or around me. But if I think it's a better result, it's a better result because I am the all almighty Oz. Except in this case, I am the all almighty or all great and powerful or whatever the thing is, Oz.
the big and stinky bucket. Truth be told, there isn't really much data about Charlie outside of the fact that he has a pure heart within the confines of the book. I couldn't really tell you if he's going to do it on his own because he doesn't. Once chaotic Wonka takes over, Charlie loses his identity, and he just seems to kind of follow along. And I guess going ahead to like the glass elevator, you do see where Wonka takes center stage, and he's pretty much giving orders and whatnot, and Charlie is faithfully following them. And Grandpa Joe is the ultimate like assassin character, where he's like, "Yes, Charlie, do as he says." And he's always just encouraged him to follow along, go along with it, Charlie, because we're all gonna benefit from this chocolate factory, Charlie. It's
Right, it's like a
ours,
cult.
Charlie. you know.
Like most all of the main characters in this, except for Charlie, are pure id. The background characters, like some of them have different variations of being lame, terrible in their own right, or inoffensive, like the shopkeeper. Except that they make a big deal that he's not just fat; he's so fat that he's got fat rolling around the entirety of his neck.
I
So
love it.
I mean, so it's like really fat. So there's a huge inequality. I mean, just the shopkeeper versus the buckets. Um, but yeah, and by the way, the kids all, how they get into their mischief. I mean, maybe it's important. Maybe if I had like an alchemist on here, they could tell me the exact importance or significance of why they went through their particular trials and tribulations, and maybe that wouldn't be bullshit or not bullshit. And I probably, if I had 10 alchemists, they probably tell, from different alchemy schools, or mystic schools, they probably tell me 10 different reasons. But I don't think it matters. All of them, they had disasters within like 7-page chapters. It's like nothing burgers. Their story is just to say I want, and then the parents are like, oh, you killed him, and Willy Wonka's, don't worry, they're not dead. The Oompa Loompas will take care of it, and they love singing songs. And by the way, the songs are not Oompa Loompa doopy doo. The songs are like dark poetry.
Oh, they really get into it, especially in the second book. There's like an entire chapter of just dark Oompa Loompa songs, and I mean, there's other characters they introduced to actually sing a song for that particular moment. But yeah, Roald Dahl really goes off on it, and the stories that they tell in the songs are like, yo, that's why he didn't want to go into detail writing a whole jerk ass chapter about it. So that's why he just went into the song when you realize like, yo, that's messed up.
Yeah, these songs. I mean, they're much closer to like the again Tolkien, like the orc and goblin songs than they are to like
Yes.
funny little children songs. By the way, how like I understand that Charlie's mother, she did a lot of work. She's salt of the earth, but like she did almost nothing except occasionally walk into a room and smile. I mean, while Grandpa Joe is doing his thing, like maybe she should be an influence. But like, Joe, settle down. You're 96 years old. I'm Charlie's mom. Maybe I should be the one that we all live in the factory now. Maybe I should be the one to help guide him a little bit. But no, it's Joe is like. I mean, he's like the first Scientologist. So he's like Elron. What Elron? You're my God and you're my prophet. I'm like your John the Baptist, and woman, know thy place. Charlie, come with me. And she's like, okay, I know my place.
Wow, you just made that make so much more sense. As you know, my fellow friend and hetero life partner, Don Reynolds, vehemently hates Grandpa Joe, but he only knows a Grandpa Joe from the movie, of course, which, and that's a whole thing in itself. But the way you just laid this out, it's like, wow, yeah, this guy. It's even
Yeah,
darker because it is so apparent where everything is like, trust the system, trust the Wonka system. There's no
yeah.
other thing but Wonka.
And
And
these other three grandparents, they're not even background characters. I mean, they're like to steal from pitch meeting. They're
yeah,
barely an inconvenience.
yeah. I'll tell you though, they do become inconvenient, and it goes back to my whole thing when I advocate for elder abuse. When I do, it's for these particular types of characters in the world.
Okay.
And
Well, then why don't we then officially switch to book two, which if I ever read it, it was a million years ago. I
you're
didn't
fine.
I didn't try to read it this time. I didn't even listen to it this time. I didn't even listen to the full 3 minute sample on Audible.
Oh,
So take it from here.
so
Take us into the future.
okay. So I mean, as well, I mean, to guess close out the book of it. I mean, if you have any more pieces
Oh, we
from
can
the
go
first
back.
book. Okay, no worries. I'll say because yeah. So we closed out with that is what was it Charlie's like, here you go, Mr. Wonka. I have a pure heart, and Wonka says, dear boy, you have a pure heart, and let's go get your family and come live over here. Of which, okay, so that's we pick up immediately from where they left off from there, where the family gets loaded into, they go into the house, make a big ass hole, family gets loaded up, and they say, we're all going to live in the factory now. Okay, no problem. So as they're flying up, and They're like, "How high can this go, Mr. Wonka? Whoopee!" And everyone's just
I'm
having
totally not
fun.
afraid of heights, even though there's a glass floor
Yeah,
and
even though
everything.
there's a glass floor and there's invisible rockets and an invisible sky hook yanking us in the sky, one Grandma Josephine or Georgina was like, "Mr. Wonka, blah blah blah," and he's like, "Woman, I'm concentrating right now. This is very delicate equipment. If I miss the retro rocket shot, we're gonna just float off into space, and we're not gonna go back home to the chocolate factory where you now live." And she's like,
I go end up in
"Ah."
Uranus.
Anyway, yeah, so they end up, like, of course, missing it. And so, not to say it's always a woman, but this time you can definitely blame a woman. And so they
Hmm.
go off floating into they all go off floating until they encounter this giant sausage shaped massive space station known as the Space Hotel USA, which just happened to have launched 2 days earlier before the factory visit.
What a happy coincidence.
And so they're going to there and they're having fun. The grandparents are out of their beds for the first time in 20 years, due to the lack of gravity, and they're still freaking out because there's. Oh, I'm getting angry. My blood's getting angry up right now.
Well, they
So,
still have their blankies though, because they
no,
would float
well,
too.
I don't know. They're just balls and vag hanging out with because they haven't changed their diapers in so many years, and diapers does come up later.
Well, they don't eat anything, so there can't be very much there.
This is true. You can't eat boiled laundry. You can only sip it.
Yeah, I mean they were down to rations of like cabbage soup, basically water, cabbage water for dinner, and they had like what, like a piece of cabbage and like half a potato and like maybe a slice of carrot. That was their lunch.
See, and if they were humble, they could have survived off of the green caterpillar mash that the Oompa Loompas did.
Oh yeah, but I mean, are green caterpillars available in, let's just call it England?
That's true. Yeah, you're right. No, we don't have that. All right, so so as they fly off into space, they are encountered by a giant space shuttle, like it's the commuter capsule, which is carrying 3 astronauts and 150 like pastry chefs, hotel managers, concierge, cleaner, the staff, the entire hotel staff is going.
Seriously, this is L. Ron Hubbard Dianetics.
This might as well be, because I'll tell you, there's a reason, and this is just the first 3 chapters, by the way, of this book, and the chapter's not that long, but it might as well be L. Ron Hubbard, because as they pass by, the astronauts take note of the 8 alleged terrorists on floating through space in a capsule, heading towards the space hotel. They call back home to Houston. Houston calls the president, and now here's where Mr. Dahl really either wrote. He saw the future and knew that we would this president would have been elected and
Oh,
be in office,
ouch.
or he just knew how to have a fun time. So this president is his name is Lancelot R. Gilligrass, the most powerful man on earth, who has in a room with let's see here. So he's watching this shuttle dealy go off with the chief of the army and 4 other generals, which is the chief of the navy, the chief of the air force, and a sword swallower from Afghanistan who was the president's best friend. And there was also his chief financial advisor who's balancing the budget, which by that I mean he's putting an abacus on top of his head, and also the vice president, a huge lady of 89 with a whiskery chin, and also happens to be the president's wet nurse.
Okay, this sounds great.
So there's all these elements. And, excuse me, I'm getting so excited.
Exactly.
So
Calm down, chocolate.
as they're trying to figure out who these astronauts are in this capsule, because the British look like anyone else, until you tell them to smile, the president goes ahead and he's like, you know what? He calls up his spy. He's like, is it the Russians? He's like, I don't know. Let's call up the Russians. So he
Good
calls up.
idea.
So he goes and calls up the Russians. The Russian premier picks up the phone. The president says, "Knock, knock. Who's there?" Warren. Warren who?
Are they still the Russians or are they the Soviets yet?
No, they're the Soviets. Yes, they're the Soviets. You're right.
Okay.
So he says,
I
Warren.
wasn't sure.
So the president instead of saying hello, he says War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, and then he starts threatening the guy. He's like, "Hey, here, Yuri, get your astronauts off my space hotel." And then the guy says, "Not me, buddy. Call someone else. Maybe it was the Chinese." In fact, one of them looks Chinese. So then the president says, "Fuck." He goes and calls China. First guy to pick up, he gets wings, fish, and vegetable store in Shanghai. President's like, "Oh, wrong number." Picks it up, calls again. Gets Mr. Wong speaking from assistant station master in Chongqing. And if you're asking about the 10 o'clock plane no landing today, boiler burst. And the president then says, this phone is broken. And that's the problem with trying to call China. It's so full of wings and wongs that every time you wing, you get the Wong number. And then he goes on to actually talk to the premier and does premier chew on that and does another semi-bigoted knock-knock joke. The point is, the president's fucking hilarious and also an inventor and a magician. So, but goddamn, give me just a second. I got too excited.
That's fine. You're recording.
I know, but I was like, okay. So, I'm trying to think of the allegory to this. Okay, yeah. So, the boarding Wonka party, landed to the space hotel, where they're still unidentified to the Americans, and they're about to go and board the hotel and have this delicious feast of ice cream, cakes, pies, and play in the tennis court when they encounter a giant ass worm coming out of the elevator. And they're like, "What the hell is this?"
Makes
Wonka
perfect
says,
sense to me.
well, Wonka says, "Stay still." And they see these giant, boneless creatures that look shaped like eggs form into letters. And they form the word scram. And Wonka says, "Okay, everybody, just back up to the elevator, and let's get the fuck out of here." So,
Okay, so he's
yes.
clearly more of a Gandalf than a god.
Yes.
Okay. This second book became a lot more Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy than Alice in Wonderland.
I guess so. I've never read Hitchhikers, but I imagine that's what it is. Yeah, they do just encounter a bunch of random things, and Wonka pretty much already knows about it, and we are the buckets, just either panicking, losing our heads, getting de-aged, or just sitting calmly, like Grandpa
I mean,
Joe
I
does.
feel almost like Dahl took your Baum and Lewis Carroll and one upped it in the first book, or sort of transformed it in the first book, transmuted it in an alchemist type way, and
Transmute.
then took basically British science fiction. Because if it's the Soviets, clearly this was at least the late 40s, but probably more like the 50s or 60s when he wrote this. Or at least the second book. And there's certainly British science fiction by then. And they took the British science fiction stuff and sort of said, all right, well, hold my chocolate milk or
Oh,
whatever.
my chocolate. I love it. Yeah, I guess. That's why I'm thinking it's more of akin to Heinlein, where it's all alluded to other things, because truth be
Did
told, the
anyone
only.
ever did he do interviews?
Who did?
Dahl, did he do interviews and
I'm not sure, but I kind of want to track those down.
all right.
The reason being, and actually, I guess I can bring this up now because he passed away in 1990, but it wasn't until maybe 30 years later, or actually in the last few years, his books are starting to be revised and edited to remove all of. Okay, so in this series in particular, things like fat and fat rolls and enormous rolls of fat and any mention of
Yeah.
fat or obesity is removed.
Yeah, but that's all.
You
That's
know,
all the wokeness gone amok that has
right?
that
But what I'm saying is it's just the fact that it's like it's altering the artist, the author's like fucking vision of it. I don't know. It just
Yeah,
kind of because it takes away from it, and I don't know. I feel like it takes from
I
the
agree.
impact of it.
It's stupid AF, and it leads to counter corrections, which the consequences are clearly much worse. And the fact that people are still doing that, as opposed to trusting that humans who are properly educated
Oh,
either know it's a side that. But by the way, obesity is a real problem.
it
Like,
is.
forget the concept of body shaming. Fat isn't good. I'm a fat person.
Yep.
I'm the greatest news. Okay. So this has been some heck of a week for me. But the greatest news is that I am now eligible for the miracle drugs that make all the Real Housewives thin. So I'm now eligible for that. So I'm going to get a sample, and as long as it doesn't cause terrible side effects,
Hmm.
like this horrible lifestyle of mine might in fact be consequence free. So yay me, I suppose, and yay medical technology. But it's like no, it's not like you need to make people feel like shit. But I mean, obesity is like probably the biggest
It
health
is.
problem in the United States, which means it'll spread to the world. And you know, if yeah, RFK's right about that, and he's right about like four other things, and he's wrong about the other 96. But that doesn't mean that he's not right about four. I
Right.
mean, it's like everybody, everybody's not one thing. Even if you are a lunatic who likes to kill animals and talk about it, you still might have done something correct or said something that's correct in the entirety of your life.
The
I mean, even
Nazis invented the microwave.
yeah, I mean, the Joker said lots of things that made sense. I mean, uh, I
Jesus.
mean, even at the end of the day, I mean, Willy Wonka did some of his prognostications came out to be right, and I don't know. All right, so
You're
uh,
fine.
I feel like our glass elevator just went in a very far direction, and went
It's
into
good.
that asteroid that the Millennium Falcon went into, where there's the giant worm monster and
Oh.
that.
Well, that's kind of pretty much what they've done as well, because the space hotel was taken over by giant vermicious canids from the planet Volva or something or other, and those motherfuckers
Vulva?
are
You mean Jerry Seinfeld's ex-girlfriend? Wait,
yes.
what are canids? Are they like canids, like dogs, or is it something else?
No, it's just how you pronounce it because it's spelled KNID, and you pronounce the K in canid like you pronounce the
Okay.
K in K Anthony.
Well, I don't know.
So
He likes to make up words. We know that.
this is true. However, Roald Dahl made up this word. So, so basically, they just come out and they just tell them like, fucking get out of here. It says scram, and like when they get to the ship and they ask Mr. Wonka what the hell just happened, he's like, bro, we just escaped with our lives. We should be thankful. And normally they would just eat the shit out of us, no problem. And he goes, why did they let us go? He goes, I don't know, probably a show off that they can form complex shapes and letters. so so then they fuck off quickly, and they're trying to get away. Meanwhile, the commuter capsule with the three astronauts and the 150 hotel staff are like, "Hey, Mr. President, they just left. Are we clear to go in?" And you're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, go inside the hotel, check it out, see how nice it is." So
So
they,
Willy Wonka is actually Howard Lucknick with superpowers,
yes,
basically. It's like he's like the ultimate like slimy salesman who'll say whatever it is with a smile on his face and turn shit into like it's like a great no, it's not shit, it's poutine, it's delicious.
it's
um
poutine, he says, pretty
okay
much.
so okay so
Because going
so
back to with the
take
Canadians,
Mixelplick and Howard Lutnick and combine them, and we have Willy Wonka. Okay,
pretty much,
I
could be
cannot tell you
worse.
how much, but Howard Lutnick like ran Goldman Sachs, so he's actually very rich. So he's actually a really good analog, and he is a complete oligarch, and he's. I hate Howard Lutnick. Maybe more than some of the other people. I hate Howard Lutnick. But that's a different diversion.
No
That's
worries.
completely unnecessary.
You're fine, bud. Oh, by the way, also the Great Glass Elevator happens to be Canid proof. So, just so
Well, it's
you know,
also vacuum proof, and then it can
and
go
it's
through
got air
space. And,
conditioning. It's vented, heated,
mm.
and insulated, as we'll find out in a second here. So they escape.
But it can't account for zero gravity. It has no counter to that.
It doesn't need it.
Oh. Okay.
Fuck, I don't know.
Because these 90-year-old bodies bouncing around is okay.
Yeah, I mean they
Okay.
can. They
Yeah.
he gives them 3 minutes to figure it out.
Mhm.
It's
That's
like
all you need.
you don't swim in gravity. You gotta use anyway.
What was that wrestling act that they beat you in 3 minutes?
The
Three
who?
minute warning. So he's
Oh,
like 3 minute warning.
oh! I thought they just beat you up. You got 3 minutes to run away before they beat you up.
Right. This is it. 3 minute warning. So you figure it out in 3 minutes.
Oh, I got you, got you. So shit. Now I lost my place in the book. So anyway, they
All
let
right.
the no, you're fine. They let the astronauts or the astronauts go on board, and they say the president says, "Hey, isn't that place nice and awesome? I designed it myself." And they're like, "Yes, Mr. President, it's so glorious." And what my God!
So what ate them? The canids or the worms?
The canids are the worms, but
Oh,
yes,
oh, okay.
they got the shit. So they escape. So Willy Wonka and crew, they don't know what's going on because as they're getting outside, they got chased by a big ass canid that got its ass hurt trying to crack open the elevator. So this thing is going after them with a vengeance. And Wonka's like, "Fuck that! Retro rockets this way!" Flies around the earth with this thing following them, makes his way back to the space hotel, sees the commuter capsule flying off haphazardly, and then like 4 dozen squadrons of 20 canids apiece are flying around trying to just. It's fucking Star Wars after a while.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
It's like just Star Wars and Spaceballs in one. I mean, it's a. I mean, is Billy
yes.
Thorpe's Children of the Sun playing in the background?
You might as well be. I mean, their brilliant plan is that they're going to tow. So Wonka says, "Hey, we're going to tow those guys because they have no rockets to get back to Earth either." And so they happen to launch a steel tow cable out of the glass elevator, connect to the astronaut ship, and then use that to lure all the canids into the Earth's atmosphere, where they all get burned up like shooting stars. Because it's mentioned in the book that the reason why canids haven't gone after Earth is because we have a very special layer of pollution, I mean atmosphere, that burns them up upon entry. It's like, so when you see a shooting star, that's a vermicious canid burning to a crisp.
Failing in their invasion once again.
Yes.
Okay, so they're like the Decepticons. They always fail on their evil machinations.
Yes. So,
Okay.
there's so much
Wow.
packed into this novel. So,
There is, and I have to be honest. I mean, I'm not sure if Dahl just went, just completely psychedelic here, or if I've lost the thread because the other books, like these parallels, like even if you think I'm reaching, there is some logic and
right.
they sort of make sense. I mean, you can compare them to Tolkien or Oz or Alice in Wonderland a little bit. I mean, they're there. This one, it just seems like it's like we go into space and like all sorts of crazy shit occurs and none of it matters
Hmm.
except the Americans are stupid pigs and the Russians are stupid pigs too, but different kinds of pigs, and the aliens
Well,
are unfriendly and not so bright either.
the Americans do get painted as the premier superpower, however. However it's run by idiots, it's still the superpower because what I forgot to mention is that, of course, this is all the Space Hotel USA. It's supposed to be international. There's people who are
Uh-huh.
paying 100 grand a piece to get up there,
Right.
and the astronauts were broadcasting the whole thing going on throughout the whole, like to the whole world, and you have the president on there. Whenever something bad happens, he swears, and then around the world, 10 million kids got smacked in the head for saying the same bad word. So I love that we still get seen as this like trendsetter superpower of idiots.
Well, we do have a giant sausage space
I
station.
know it's the best. It's a big
Now,
wiener.
now, is there any particular reason why the Canids haven't attacked the space
They
station?
did that. They were
Oh,
in the space station, the space hotel
oh,
station. The space station is the whole space hotel. So
okay.
that's where they met the Canids. I'm very terrible. I'm not Raw Doll. I'm not a good storyteller. But yeah, they were there waiting. So they were here first. They were pretty much like the indigenous Canids of Space Hotel USA.
So it was an ambush, but the indigenous are going to win, but we get to keep our indigenous Earth. even though we replicate the
Yes.
similar horrors upon other peoples.
Yes. So.
Okay, I see. Um, okay, so it sounds like Dahl thinks everybody sucks. The Americans are more powerful, but they pretty much suck too.
Hmm.
Uh, but chocolate can be manna from heaven, but he hasn't. He certainly hasn't decreed that we're worthy of this manna. So we're not even worthy of socialism, true benevolent socialism, and clearly the Soviets, weren't that either. So, I mean, it's sort of like he's completely given up on humanity. So, I have to imagine that Charlie, with the help in air quotes of Grandpa Joe, and guided by Willy Wonka, will become another evil Yaldabaoth as well.
Pretty much. I mean, unless there's another type of influence that like interjects, yeah, he'll just follow that same path because it's all
That's not even
about.
possible. We can't leave Earth because the Knids are waiting.
Mhm.
And on Earth, there's nobody more powerful than Willy Wonka. We haven't found.
President.
What was in Lost? There was Jacob, and the smoke monster had no name, but we haven't found a Jacob to counter the smoke monster. Um, so so and John Locke is dead. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. This is very sad. By the way, for those who haven't heard first of all, it's White Chocolate's birthday, so happy birthday, Chocolate!
No, thank you.
And it is just a coincidence that he goes by White Chocolate and we're doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's I mean, he picked the topic, but I don't think it's because they share the same participle in their identities. Um, and yes, he does identify as white chocolate. So in every way you think.
My
Um,
pronouns are ooey and gooey.
that's right. Melt in your mouthy. Um, so it's
Good.
scrumptious. My pronoun is scrumptious. Um, Also, initially for his birthday, I wanted to have a surprise guest and someone who actually is wise in the ways of esotericism in many schools, and that was Aaron Haddad Stevens, who some of you may know as Damien Sando, who some of you know has been on this show twice and was the very first guest on Book of Black. But he couldn't make it. He had so sorry, chocolate. No actual esoteric person. They can actually keep us out of this, but I don't know. I think for a rank amateur, I did pretty well, but that is what a rank amateur would think, isn't it?
Well, you know. Well, if you were a professional, you wouldn't shut up the fuck up about it. Seeing as you only mentioned it once, I think you're pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
I
I,
don't
I
know.
mean,
I don't know if that's like rank amateur is supposed to be a self owner, but we're all amateurs in this, so you know what I mean. I think
the
we're
more
doing
I
good.
meet some pros or self-described pros, they're
Mm-hmm.
sort of amateurs who just learned a particular verbiage
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
linguist. I mean, I've never read the Bible, but I feel like I understand it better than most clergy. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, they all universally disagree with me, and as well they should. I mean, I understand. Like, I'm not an AEW fan. I understand reality. I understand that I'm not the greatest thing alive. It's okay to think I am and to like what I have to say, but that doesn't mean that you have to imagine that the rest of the world agrees. I have no such imaginations, no imaginings, imaginatoriums, as you would say.
Yes.
That,
I was gonna
yes, of
say
course.
no. Sorry, I was exhaling. I would say you know what. In the same vein, like I absolutely hate, like I abhor the Halloween movie franchise,
Hmm.
but I know so much about it, and I wish I didn't. So, but I mean, like it's like that thing. Like you haven't read the Bible, but you know about it. You could probably discuss it. More toe to toe than most people who do say they live by it, but don't have never actually read it. You know what I mean?
I
So
do.
I understand. What? Oh,
No,
okay.
that's it.
It wasn't a question. I'm sorry. It's like
No,
I
no,
do. I
wasn't a
do.
question.
No,
All
it
right.
wasn't a
Is there
question. Go ahead.
is there any part of these stories that you want to revisit that we skipped by, that we flew by
Well,
too quickly?
Great. We didn't even finish Great Glass Elevator. There's
Oh,
still
really?
one more
Okay.
adventure.
Oh, okay.
And this
Sorry,
is
I thought it was over.
no, you're fine. I'm gonna say that was where they towed everyone to Earth because Wonka was like, I'm gonna just hit the home button on the elevator and it'll take us to the factory, and we'll just drop this cargo thing of people off on the way, drop them
So
off
these
in
are
the
the people they
ocean.
rescue from the space stations that the Canids hadn't destroyed already because they
Right,
wanted to
so
be a
they
secret attack.
escaped. Right, no, so
Okay.
the Canid, so they went into the hotel. The human astronauts did. The
So no
Canids
one in
ate
the
them.
hotel ever stumbled upon
No,
like
so
this
they
invading
launched.
horde of worm
Okay,
eggs.
so I guess I actually kind of it was basically SpaceX where they launched this sausage tube unmanned because they
Nice.
weren't sure it wasn't going to blow up. So they figured we'll throw this unmanned sausage rocket and then we'll bring the people on to staff it.
Okay, sounds good.
So, instead of something like building it up in space, which I don't think they invented that yet. But yeah, it was. So they just towed the thing back. The Canids can own the space hotel station. So at this point, the astronauts and their crew they lost like 2 dozen people, which is fine. So they're safe on Earth. Charlie and his family are back at the factory, and Wonka has this bright idea. He says to the old people, "Hey, this is my factory. Don't you guys want to see around, old people?" And the old people said, "Nope, we're going right back in the bed because we're old and we're gonna stay here." And so that's when, like you actually mentioned, and you alluded to this without knowing, Wonka turns on his snake oil salesman charm. He goes,
Nice.
I could get you guys out of bed, but, never mind. And that's where Grandma Georgina's like, what, tell us. And then he goes on for 4 fucking pages of not telling them, of which at least 5 times they say, get to the fucking point, man. And then finally he says, I have this thing called Wonkavite, which one pill will de-age you 20 years. So he gives the three of them, the three old people, not Grandpa Joe, 12 pills. And Georgina just starts going savage ape shit, like, you know what, whoa, these are for us. And because Mrs. Bucket was like, I'd like to be 20 years younger. I'd like to get 20 years back of caring for you old people. Like, no, they're for us old people. So the three George.
So he's
So
sort of
yeah.
like the Wizard of Oz in this, except the Wizard of Oz said, "No, you had it all along." He's saying, "Nah."
Well, no, no. Well, no. He had the secret to de aging. Yeah, the Fountain of Youth. But the three old people are like they're keeping it for themselves. They don't want to share it with the rest of the family.
Oh, okay, okay,
Sorry, I
okay.
should be
So,
more
so we, we've
clear.
got we've got selfish and the selfless.
Yeah, so Grandma Georgina is being extra selfish. Like these are for us old people. We're gonna take them. So George, Georgina, and Josephine take these pills, and just the years just melt away, 1 year per second, and since it's 20, so within 80 seconds, they're turned. George is turned into a baby of 1 years old. Grandma Josephine is a baby of 3 months old, and Georgina, the raucous one, disappears. And they figured it out because you aged, 20 years per pill, 4 pills equals 80 years. Josephina or Georgina de-aged into -2 years old.
Wow. Um.
Yes.
Okay. So -2 years old. So pre fertilized egg.
Pretty much. She ends up becoming a spirit and is doomed to Minus Land, which is where all the other Oompa Loompas that Wonka's experimented on ended up from being de-aged to, so much. And so they end up having to go down to the deepest, darkest cellar in the chocolate factory. And they pretty much hang from the elevator looking for Georgina's soul to spray it with the Wonka aging serum. So after a very spooky sequence, because it was almost like the way he wrote it was almost like a horror movie, because they go into a dark room with swirling spirits that obviously you can't see, and you won't know they're attacking you until they puncture your skin. And by
Oh, the
then,
Anunnaki, the
yes,
demons, the Nephilim. The,
yes,
the,
all
the,
of them.
The disembodied demons. By the way, folks, you know that I don't think that's what the Nephilim are, or if you don't, you need to process. You need to listen to more shows. Actually, when I do my last show, I will. It's gonna be like a 7 hour marathon on all of my conclusions on everything. It'll be Jeff on everything. Actually, so it'll probably be more like 7 minutes, but no,
Ew. Jeff
no, yeah,
flops on everything. What the hell?
right, right. It'll be like Willy Wonka. Everything sucks. No chocolate for you.
Good day.
Exactly. No, I wish I could do something so short and succinct. Everyone knows that short answers is not my, brevity is not my talent.
But that's fine. I'll tell you what. I will make this last one brief. Where it's they shoot
Oh,
her with the aging serum. She ages so old that they can't figure out how much Wonka vitamins to give her, and they end up determining that she was old enough for it was either the Civil War or Jefferson, something like 300 some years. So they end up de aging her, and at the end of that, Wonka gets a letter from the president saying, "We don't know who the people were that saved our astronauts, but we saw that they landed here, so those 8 people are invited to come have dinner with us." And then that is determined to be the only way that to get the 3 old people out of bed. And then we just close the book with, hold on 1 second, because this is ridiculous. What am I doing here? I'm in the wrong story.
well, while you're doing this, I'm going to note that these people who
Mm-hmm.
worshipped Willy Wonka wouldn't get out of bed for him, but they would get out of bed for the president who had proven himself to be a craven boob for like the last however long they were having this intergalactic or, well,
Well,
intrastellar adventure.
yes. I mean, they didn't. I mean, he's the president. You're supposed to love him, like, without pause and
But
without
he's not the
question.
president of their country, or at least I presume. I mean, we don't have pences. I mean, we have Mike Pence, but we didn't have pence as a currency in the United States. I mean, maybe we did in like until like 1790 or something. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know when we switched off British names for currency: quid, sterling, pence, whatever, farthing,
Wasn't it 20
pound.
years back when they turned everything into euros? No.
I was definitely before that. I think,
Oh, okay.
and I think the British are back. I don't think they use euros anymore. They remember that whole Brexit thing where they
Oh,
destroyed their
I
entire economy because they hate foreigners.
oh, I honestly didn't pay attention to any of that. I was like, man, y'all got your own fucking problems.
Yeah, no, the UK is not part of the EU any longer. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense now. United Kingdom's this whole thing. Well, that kind of makes sense. Like at the end of this book, where Grandpa Joe says, "Well, Charlie, it's certainly been a busy day," and Charlie says,
it's like the
"It's
United
not over
States now.
yet."
We're out of everything because we hate foreigners too, even though
Well,
we're entirely foreigners. I
we
mean,
should be.
we're all foreigners here.
Yeah. So, yep.
Sorry,
No, you're fine.
with the story. No more Jeff's commentary on geopolitics and how he hates everything too. Like Willy Wonka, I hate everything.
Where's your ivory tower? No, I'm just kidding. Charlie just says, or he says, "Well, Charlie, it's been a busy
Oh,
day," and
chocolate
Charlie
nearby.
says, "It's not over yet. It hasn't even begun." So
Okay.
I'm a little upset because that makes me think that there would have been a third
Third.
book, and there is not.
When were these published?
Shit. No, let me pull up the.
The second book.
Yeah, yeah. No,
When
no.
were
I got you. I got you. Doo, 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 doo. Let's see. Great Glass Elevator, 1972. So the first book was in 1964, and then
okay?
yeah,
So it's
72.
still under copyright protection. So
Hmm.
you could do fan fiction to create your own, or you have to wait, like another 25 years or so, thereabouts, or 21 years, so something like that, for it to become public domain, and you can write whatever you want on it. Though, I mean, you're not really yeah, well, the characters, I suppose. So, yeah. Anyway, as I muse out loud about legalities,
You're
I mean, you could do thinly veiled different versions of the characters, but if you just call it fan fiction, I mean, fan fiction seems to be something that's largely accepted. And in some cases, the authors and the creators their families have accepted, like Stephen King, like has accepted certain fan fiction. Even
yeah.
worse, I mean, I'm going to botch her. I'm not going to try her name, but the author of the Three Body Problem, they have accepted fan fiction, and I've only read like one of the books, and they absolutely should not have accepted the fan fiction. So 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 I worry that it's all absolute crap. But and you know the fan fiction. My favorite fan fiction, of course, is the Enoch 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the Book of War, and all of those Dead Sea Scrolls. So and the stuff
Mhm.
of Qumran and whatnot. So my favorite fan fiction is like the Jewish Apocalypto, which I know right now, people are going blasphemy, heresy, anathema, kill him. Yeah, please kill me already. Do it.
Oh
Get to it. Get on with it. So, been waiting.
no,
Um,
not yet. He needs to buy alcohol for
oh,
me.
that's true. I've never bought you anything. That's true.
Jesus.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
didn't even
Mhm.
say. I only said about the good part of my week. So okay, so I went to MLW Wrestling where my best friend Mr. Thomas used to work, and so I only went to
Oh.
one night where I was committed to meet up with some friends. So only half of the friends who said they were going to meet came, but it's fine. It's all right. Still saw my three guys, and that was cool. And Viv got to play on her phone while pretending to watch wrestling. Um, and I did run into my friend AJ Scales, who was one of our guests on Gospel of Thomas. So that was fun because I wasn't expecting him and he wasn't expecting me, and that was nice. And then on my walk back from the breakfast place to the car park, which I think they call parking lots in American, um, I lost my wallet. So
Oh.
the entirety of the trip back was Viv putting fraud alerts on everything, ordering me new credit cards, locking my other ones,
Mhm.
and I don't even know what's in there. I think at some point I should probably think about a driver's license or whatnot. I have copies of it. I do have like copies of it that I took photos of. Like I don't know how to do a digital wallet, but I've like got photos of things like my insurance card and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But like somewhere, somebody is going to think that like my Landry's and Ruth Chris card like are active and actually have anything on them, as opposed to are like like dusty 20-year old things that are just mistake. The real thing, I mean, is that like I've like pictures of my kids that like and like their little school IDs when they were like 4 and 7 years old when when the Baltimore County had them take like little police pictures and put their fingerprints on the back in case kids got kidnapped and then
Oh yeah, man.
you know all they those cute little baby pictures and those things are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's and I had to walk like miles during the course of these things, and so
Mhm.
my entire body hurts too on top of that. So
Oh, sorry, man.
because I don't exercise, so I don't move really. So it's like imagine like Jabba the Hutt like having to walk for the first time, and like the next day having like Charlie horse that lasts for like days. So that's
Oh,
me.
that
I know.
makes me even more sad. Actually,
Sure.
the way you described that reminded me. I just seen a story about a 43-pound cat that got rehabbed into losing weight, and it took him like the first 6 weeks. They had to feed him like diet food and a strict regimen, and he lost half a pound. And I was like, oh my god! But eventually, he was able to like get up to 15 minutes of exercise and play and walk upstairs. And I was like, you go, buddy.
Just half a pound did that? That's
Well, no,
fantastic.
no,
That's
no. At first, and then like it
oh,
was over the course of like a year and a half. But at
okay.
first, it was like that was the first step was like half a pound, and then eventually he lost an entire cat's worth, and now he's down to 23. So,
Oh, well, that's good. So my cats, who are both 5 months old and are brother and sister. Um, so I guess I should have known this, but I didn't know this. I mean, when I was a kid, we had a cat. She had kittens, but all the kittens either were adopted or died before this
hmm.
this came to be. But apparently, when the girl kitten goes in heat, the boy kitten like incest is okay, and so like at first we're like wondering why is she crying? What is going on here? And so at first I'm like because her brother is twice her size, even though they're like minutes apart. Um, and we're like, is he trying to like rape his sister? And we're like, oh, you poor thing, you poor thing. I'm so sorry, my little princess. And then I realized that every time she sits down, she's like raising her ass up and whatever. I'm like, hold on, she's in heat. She's the problem. It's like
Yep.
he's perfectly fine when she's not in heat. He's like he's got he's just his normal self. And when she's not in heat, she's her normal self too. I mean, obviously they're cats. There's no fault here. But it's like dumbass me. I'm close to 60 and I'm first learning this now. So I mean, I knew that there was incest in the animal world. I just didn't know that it like started so early.
It
So now,
starts early. Gee,
I mean,
I got you
it's
though. Yeah.
5 months, and then just now have to, they have to be spayed and neutered, and then which is of course they need to be spayed and neutered. So for those of you who are also dumbasses like me and don't know like basics or never had like pets from like when they were little, like for a time, um, yeah, this is the thing. So and we asked the vet, or at least my wife said she asked the vet, and the vet said no, you don't need to worry about those 7 or 9 months, but I don't know. Cats like people are all different, and I don't know. Just Bob Barker was right about spaying and neutering your pets, not about how to like treat the showgirls on his show.
He treated them fairly.
I suppose.
I
I
love it.
guess I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
I'm too woke. I don't know.
I've watched. Well, this is when I was laid up with the heart surgery. I was watching the Bob Barker era channel, and I don't know. I think he was all right. I'm sure he did nefarious shit. I don't doubt it. But it was funny watching him like be bored with the guests until he noticed one with like ample cleavage, and he, whoa, oh hello. It's like Jesus, old man. So it's fun just watching that in real time, but in the past. But it's like, yeah, oh, the signs were always there. We were just too young to notice, or at least I was. I was a baby. So
I mean, how would we know anything? I mean,
yeah, we didn't care.
this person came into your life at 11 o'clock. They left 11:59. I mean, that was the end of it.
Pretty much. But
All right.
yeah.
Chocolate, I thank you for all of this. This was, I hope the audience has enjoyed this. I think, this show's always had like a fair amount of, sort of friends and
Hmm.
less formal banter on it, but I think that's going to be more of a thing going forward. But where can people find and follow you? I know you're not on the X, so you got to,
Oh,
tell people first.
well, I pretty much am just on the YouTube over at the DRWC show and over at the Wrestling Soup Discord where we do live shows on YouTube and Discord simulcast Wednesdays. 8:05 Eastern. I'm in Central, so I gotta adjust for inflation. Also, we have our episodes of us in audio form down on the Wrestling Soup and Friendos network. So catch that wherever social media outlets you have.
Excellent. All right. Um, That's it. As far as me, if you don't know already, I'm on the Twitter at dose_evil, mostly for wrestling nonsense. For all other things, at Icarus Fell MD. You can, of course, find me here at Garden of Thought. If you're here for the first time, thank you. Welcome. You can subscribe to Garden of Thought on any major podcast audio platform. You can also go to YouTube, and it's at Garden of Thought Pod, one word. Um, Very strange performance on different shows on there. I mean, there's nothing to see; it's just the show art. So I don't want to dissuade people from doing that because I actually like looking at the numbers. But if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I think I'll start doing live shows, or at least there'll be video where you can actually look at people or things. Um, and that can be fun. Also, well, by the time this show airs, you'll have already the first episode will have already aired. But you can catch me on Wrestling Soup. I do the LFG review show with the legendary Lufisto, and starting Monday night on the Sports Jedi Network, me and Mr. Thomas, my best friend, I'm not his best friend, but he's my best friend, are going to start doing review of MLW, where he worked for 5 years. So we've got a little news to break. There might be some inside gossip. Well, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know what he's going to say. I don't control the man. He's 6'5", 260. I mean, I'm 5'10", 250. But believe me, it's a very different 250 compared to his 260. Like his 260 is the way you want 260 to be. My 250 is pretty much exactly how you don't want it to be, unless you were like much shorter than 5'10". Then it's even worse. In any event. in any event, also you can find me on Facebook, and Discord and all that other good stuff. So yeah, so that's fun, and we've got some cool stuff coming up. Kristaps from the Eastern Border, we're going to be recording soon. I've got some other archaeology people and stuff like that. And Rams fan, a friend of the Wrestling Soup universe, he's indicated that we're going to do some stuff too. So anyway, and now that the chocolate's broken the veil, who knows? Maybe he'll be back again, or maybe some of his friends who were afraid to come on before won't be afraid any longer.
I hope so. Well, thank you for having me on. I know we've done when we do the dose of chocolate show. It's always about chaotic and haphazard. It was really nice. Just chilling. It's almost like
We were
just
getting fans,
I
until that
know.
until your heart fell out of your chest,
It's still in the five
and
cents to put it back together. I'm trying, my friend. I'm trying.
so it's all right. I cannot tell you how happy I'm that those guys from the PWF,
Oh,
and it's not just guys, but that they've taken that over and taken. I still watch Evolve, but it's like not taking notes and just like anything off my table
dude,
is just wonderful.
I love watching Alex and the gang go at it. Like it makes me, like I get the itch to come back in and jump in it. I'm like, yes. But you know what? The thing is, they're doing such a great fucking job. I don't have to. You know what I mean? Like I love those guys. I love Alex and the crew. So fuck yeah, check them out on the Super Nintendo's network as well. But that's enough out of me. They're definitely the great
Okay.
soldiers. But
All right, Al. I don't know what song I'm going to use. I'm trying to stay away from copyrighted music, so the Your Imagination song is probably one I can't use. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Don't worry about it. You'll hear something. You'll see us all later in the week.